Before continuing from where the first part of the custom weapon guide left off, I'll review some key points. First is that to build a custom weapon, you need at least one set of schematics or blueprints. Second is that finding extra schematics for any weapon will cause it to be in better condition whenever it's built. Also, when building explosive weapons, the number of units you create off of a single set of parts is directly proportionate to how many sets of blueprints you have. In other words, if you have one set of blueprints, you will make one grenade, 2 grenades if you have 2 sets, and 3 if you have 3. The last thing to mention is that if you have the downloadable content Broken Steel, which raises the level cap to 30, you gain access to additional perks that change how easy it is to make custom weapons. Right, now that those critical points are covered, let's get to what this guide is all about. Right up with some of the more epic weapons is the nuka-grenade, which packs one of the heaviest punches. The nuka-grenade, unlike all of the other buildable weapons, can only be made in limited quantity. For this reason, it's in your best interests to wait until you have at least 2 sets of schematics before you bother to build this weapon. The first set of schematics can be bought off of the wandering merchant Doc Hoff. As with any wandering merchant, if you wait outside of any major settlement, such as Megathon, you will eventually encounter one of the 4 traders, and if you wait long enough, every trader will eventually pass by. The second set of schematics is located inside of a Yaoguai cave den that's further inside of a raider hideout called the Cliffside Caverns. The Cliffside Caverns are located east of Tenpenny Tower, and not that far from the Overlook Drive-In. When you're inside of the caverns, the Yaoguai cave entrance is higher up and must be accessed after crossing over wooden planks that serve as bridges. When you find and enter the Yaoguai cave, hug the left wall and search for a pile of skeletons which the blueprints lies amongst. The last and final set of nuka-grenade schematics are questionable for being worth the time to acquire. They're given as a reward for completing the quest, the Nuka-Cola Challenge. This quest entails giving 30 nuka-colaquantums to Sierra in Girdershade. Now, there's a bit of a conflict in doing this for a few reasons. It's important to know that there are only some 90 nuka-colaquantums in the entire game, so if you give up 30 of them to have all 3 sets of blueprints, you'll be able to make some 180 grenades. Of course, that's assuming you go through the trouble to find all of the remaining 60 quantums in the game, which is no small task at all by any means. On the reverse side, if you never do complete this quest, and keep nearly all 90 quantums to yourself, you would still be able to make some 180 grenades with 2 sets of schematics. This is where you have to make the choice for yourself. Do you want to scour the waste to no end for every quantum so you can both use the grenades and help poor addicted Sierra? Or do you forget the useless addicted Twitch bucket and just make do with 2 sets of the schematics?
I love the stuff! I can't get enough of it! I thought I was hooked on regular Nuka-Cola, but the Quantum beats it by a long shot. I've got to have more!
Since neither really gives you a massive upper hand, you'll have to make the choice for yourself. But personally, I prefer to stay away from ditzy addicts and sexually depraved gunmen.
Just have to take a number. I'm gonna be the first one to tap into Sierra's goods, not you.
Luckily, if you have the downloadable content Broken Steel, you have 2 additional options when it comes to nuka-grenades. Because Broken Steel raises the level cap to 30, you are given access to 2 very powerful perks that can help you here. The first is the quantum-chemist perk at level 22. This perk allows you to turn 10 normal nuka-colas into 1 nuka-colaquantum. Obviously, this has to be balanced with whether it's a good idea to throw away 10 colas, but once again, that's your choice. The second perk is Warmonger at 26, which bypasses collecting schematics altogether, making you an expert at building all the weapons of the game. This perk is actually of questionable use, since you should have most of the schematics, especially if you're following this guide. Nonetheless, however, if you want to make the most nuka-grenades possible without having to complete the Nuka-Cola Challenge, the Warmonger perk is a must. When it comes to ranged weapons you can build, the railway rifle is by far the best. It serves as a great and entertaining way to engage in combat and eliminate your foes. After all, shooting railroad ties at people is just as cool as it is weird. This weapon has 3 sets of schematics strewn across the wastes. The first set is located at the MDPL-13 power station, which is east of Paradise Falls, and not that far west from Minefield. The second set is a reward for completing the quest Stealing Independence. If you talk to Abraham Washington in Rivet City, he will send you off to retrieve the Declaration of Independence in the National Archives. Once you accept the quest, you can find the location by following the various quest markers to traverse the labyrinth-like ruins of downtown DC. Additionally, once you find the National Archives, you will have found the area known as the Mall, by which you can also access the Museum of History. Just conveniently enough, you can purchase another set of blueprints from the vendor Tulip, who's located in Underworld, which is inside of the Museum of History. Okay, now let's tackle the Shishkebab. Like most of the custom weapons, it's the most unique in its category. After all, it literally is a flaming sword.
Please.
The 3 sets of schematics for this little gem are found in the following locations. The first set is purchased off of the wandering merchant Lucky Harith. Like I've said before, simply wait outside of any major settlement and eventually you'll encounter every trader, including Lucky Harith. The second set can be found in a makeshift shack more north than east of Paradise Falls, southwest of Fort Constantine, and closest to Stat Camaret NN03D. The final set is a reward for completing the quest Blood Ties. If you speak to Lucy Weston Megaton, who can usually be found in or around Moriarty's saloon, she'll ask you to deliver a letter for her. After talking to her, you'll receive a marker for the location called Arafu. Once you've done a bit of legwork and arrive at the settlement, you'll be tasked by Evan King to find the family. If you ask Evan King for places to look, he'll mark possible locations on your map. The location you're interested in is the Northwest Seneca Station. You can get to the family's base via a manhole next to some radioactive drums inside of the subway station. After lurking through the underground and you find the family's hideout, you need to find their leader Vance. When you find him, you can outright kill him to get the schematics. This is the worst of your 2 options for resolution though, because there are a few beneficial options later if you complete this quest peacefully. The second way is to charismatically talk to the family. If you settle everything for the better, in the end, Vance will give you the schematics for being a kind and understanding human.
Please, I want you to take this. Consider it as an apology to you for all the hardships you had to endure finding this place. Goodbye, human. Our time together has been rather educational.
Moving right along, we come to the Deathclaw gauntlet. This weapon is by far one of the best and coolest hand-to-hand weapons available. The first set of blueprints for this weapon are given as a reward for completing an unmarked freeform quest for Bannon in Rivet City. All you have to do is talk to him about his council seat, and he'll hint at wanting someone to find incriminating evidence of Seagrave Holmes. If you look in Seagrave's room, you can find a few holotapes. If you take these and turn them into Lana Danvers, without mentioning Bannon at all, he'll give you a set of Deathclaw schematics whenever you next talk to him.
That will teach that bastard to mess with me. I think you've earned a permanent discount here.
The second set is found in an old camping trailer at the F. Scott Key Trail and Campgrounds, not too far from the old Dunwich building, south of Girdershade and west of Tenpenny Tower, in the bottom left corner of the map. The final set of blueprints is unfortunately difficult to find. They're found near the body of a wastelander who has been ripped to shreds, not too far from an injured Deathclaw. The location of this event is random, so all I can really say is to be watchful whenever you're out exploring the open lands of the wastes. Remember, with custom weapons you have some of the most powerful and entertaining options for gameplay, unlike anything else in the entirety of Fallout 3. The weapons are worth good cash, and some of them are the most powerful in the game. Just remember to stay sharp and grab the useful junk you need to build the weapons from the boundless piles of trash you find everywhere in the wastes.